welcome back to Area 67 Gaming. I am your host, Ben Tennyson, and today I will be talking about the most famous bounty hunter in gaming history's first game, Metroid on the NES. Metroid originally released in Japan in 1986, but didn't come to America until 1987. Metroid did quite a lot of firsts for gaming, and helped pioneer a lot of new ideas. It was alongside Legend of Zelda that introduced picking up items to benefit your character to progress further in the game, and it was one of the first games to have a non-linear world. Before Metroid and Legend of Zelda, every game was up and down or just left to right. They were the first games to introduce backtracking. Metroid is also known as one of the first games to have a darker feel to it. Most games at this point had been upbeat and happy to pull in kids' attention, but Metroid went a different path to create a feeling of desperation and solitude. Which makes sense when you find out one of their greatest inspirations was the original Alien movie, and a lot of people think Samus was based around Sigourney Weaver, but they actually revealed her design was based around Kim Basinger in 9.5 Weeks. From what I read, the making of this game really had like a free environment. Everyone could try new things. Nothing like Metroid had ever really been made before. So it makes a lot of sense they had a lot of ideas up in the air and then they threw whatever they could at the wall and see what stuck. Like the most famous one being that Samus is a girl. They didn't go into it with the idea of making a badass female character. They made that call later on, and it's even more obvious when you look at the instruction manual for America and see that it always says he. The Metroid games are really looked at as cult classics. Metroid is one of Nintendo's biggest IPs that they hardly ever use. Now I know the original Metroid isn't one of the Metroids they talk about when describing the best of them, but you gotta start somewhere. So now let's dig into Metroid on the original NES. And I will start with the best place, of course, the story. In the year 2000 of the history of the cosmos, representatives from the many different planets in the galaxy established a Congress called the Galactic Federation, and an age of prosperity began. A successful exchange of cultures and civilizations resulted, and thousands of interstellar spaceships ferried back and forth between planets. But space pirates also appeared to attack the spaceships. The Federation Bureau created the Galactic Federation Police, but the pirates' attacks were too powerful and it was not easy to catch them in the vastness of space. The Federation Bureau and the Federation Police called together warriors known for their great courage and sent them to do battle with the pirates. These great warriors were called Space Hunters. They received large rewards when they captured pirates and made their living as space bounty hunters. It is now the year 20x5 in the history of the cosmos, and something terrible has happened. Space pirates have attacked a deep space research spaceship and have seized a capsule containing an unknown life form that has been discovered on planet SR388. This life form is in a state of suspended animation, but can be reactivated and will multiply when exposed to beta rays for 24 hours. It is expected that the entire civilization of planet SR388 was destroyed by some unknown person or thing, and there is a strong possibility that the life form just discovered was the cause of the planet's destruction. To carelessly let it multiply would be extremely dangerous. The Federation researchers named it Metroid, and were bringing it back to Earth when it was stolen by the space pirates. If Metroid is multiplied by the space pirates and then used as a weapon, the entire galactic civilization will be destroyed. After a desperate search, the Federation police have at last found the pirates' headquarters, the fortress planet Zebes, and launched a general attack. But the pirates' resistance is too strong, and the police have been unable to take the planet. Meanwhile, in a room hidden deep within the center of the fortress, the preparations to multiply the Metroid are progressing steadily. As a last resort, the Federation police have decided on this strategy, to send a space hunter to penetrate the center of the fortress and destroy the mother brain. The space hunter chosen for this mission is Samus Aran. He is the greatest of all space hunters and has successfully completed numerous missions that everybody thought were absolutely impossible. He is a cyborg. His entire body has been surgically strengthened with robotics, giving him superpowers. Even the space pirates fear his spacesuit, which can absorb enemies' power. But his true form is shrouded in mystery. The planet Zebes is a natural fortress. Its sides are covered with a special kind of stone, and its interior is a complicated maze. On top of that, the pirates have planted devices and booby traps in the maze, and the pirates' eerie followers lie in wait around every corner. Samus has now succeeded in penetrating Zebes, but time is running out. Will he be able to destroy the Metroid and save the galaxy? So yeah, like I said, they refer to Samus as a he here, but I do like that they threw in that his identity is shrouded in mystery. They make it seem as though Samus is so good at hiding her identity that the Galactic Federation can't tell if Samus is a guy or a girl, or even just a cyborg robot. It makes Samus seem even more badass than she already does. The entire Galactic Police can't even penetrate these walls, and Samus does it solo. I like how the game brings you in after she's already penetrated the walls and landed on the planet, because once she landed, it is at that point she is truly alone, and it's up to the player to help her complete her mission. And the first thing I'll say about the gameplay is I liked it a lot. On this channel, I've only done NES games, and this is by far my favorite one. It's so much bigger with this giant maze of a map. You can easily get lost and go into places where you've already been but don't realize it because you're coming in from another way. There's so many different enemies too that I'm actually surprised. In the manual, they even give different color shades of the same character design their own description. And there's some enemies I never would have guessed what they would have looked like unless I looked at the manual. For instance, the Zila in the game kind of looks like to me an old radio, but that's actually its big bulgy eyes. There's a lot of exploration you can do in the game, but above you at the beginning there is a room. In that room there are two statues of bosses that you have to defeat, one being Kraid and the other being Ridley. In order to get one step closer to the Mother Brain, you have to defeat both these mini bosses. But before you do that, you definitely want to look around and explore. Throughout the game there are a ton of hidden items. Items that increase how many missiles you can have, ones that give you more health. They're hidden all over the place along with big boosts to Samus to strengthen her for the boss fights later on, such as the Morph Ball, High Jump, the Varia, which increases her resistance, the Bomb upgrade when she's in the Morph Ball, the Screw Attack, which was a huge help to me. Turning Samus into a spitting ball of death got me through a lot of different stages. The Wave Beam, the Ice Beam, the Long Beam, you find all these by going all over the map. And you want to try to find as many missile upgrades and health upgrades as you can. The missile upgrade is huge for boss fights, and you should try to get every health upgrade you can. I couldn't even tell you the amount of times I got blown up by random enemies who did way more damage than you would expect, or just falling into a lava pit and can't get out. It's so easy to get hit by something or fall into the lava pits too. Enemies are constantly respawning, and when you combine that with Samus's crazy jumps that can go all over the screen, it's very easy to mess up. I had to stop and mine for health so many times on enemies, it was crazy. The Ice Beam was definitely one of my favorite upgrades. It makes it instead of you having to fight an enemy until they die, you can just freeze them in place for a period of time. Plus, if you have the Screw Attack, you can just freeze them and then blow right through them. I wonder what happens to Samus' spine when she goes into that Morph Ball. It does not look comfortable. After getting many of the upgrades, I made my way to go fight Kraid. And let me tell you something, Kraid beat my booty hole into oblivion. I sat there for well over an hour just constantly repeating that boss fight over and over again. He shoots spikes from his head, chest, and legs, I hope. He really doesn't look bad when you just watch a video of it, but my god, he was tough for me. I was doing this one on stream and I popped off so hard when I finally beat him. I have never struggled that hard in a boss fight in my life. Come to think of it though, I don't remember Ridley giving me that many issues. Ridley was nowhere near as hard as Kraid, and thank God for that. Whenever I think of Metroid now, I think Metroid, fun game, but fuck Kraid. I then made my way back to that room where the statues were to progress closer to the Mother Brain herself. And it was around here I definitely would recommend the Ice Beam. You run into, which I can only guess is flying SpaghettiOs that are constantly ricocheting off the walls trying to hit you. You also come face to face with the Metroids, which is so much better when you have the Ice Beams because freezing them is a much easier way to work around them. They fly over and try to suck the life out of you, which was also something my ex-girlfriend was very good at. It was so hard to get them off too once they latched on. It was way easier to just progress very slowly and then freeze them as they came along. It was around here you definitely wanted all those missile upgrades, because around here the regular blaster really isn't going to cut it, unless like I said you're freezing them. This area does a really great job of making it feel like you're approaching the final boss. Once you hop down past those statues, it feels like a completely different room. And with the Metroids being no joke, it made me pretty nervous of what I would have to deal with when I finally got to the final room. And in order to get to that final room, you have to get past like 15 Metroids. There's this long hallway where they just keep coming. And once you finally make it to that room, it is no cakewalk. Once in, you have the SpaghettiOs flying around you, you have these little blasters constantly firing when they face the direction of where you're standing. Not really you actually, but where the platform is where you can stand. And to get closer to the Mother Brain, you have to blow up these walls that can constantly regenerate. Or at least I thought it was a wall, apparently it has a name. It's called a Zebetite? Not really sure if I pronounced that right, in fact I'm pretty confident I did not, but its description reads as so. This energy source is vital for keeping the Mother Brain alive. It is no more than a life support system and therefore won't attack, but it must be destroyed and only missiles will do the job. One missile blast is not enough. Other weapons are harmless against it. You have to keep throwing missiles or it'll simply come to life again. It's crazy that it's described as a life support and the fact that it itself is alive. I'm not really sure how that works. But like I said before, you definitely wanted those missile upgrades because like that description said, only missiles work on it. And you have to blast through several of these walls, I believe 4 or 5. And you have to blast through it all while dodging those SpaghettiOs and the blasters constantly firing at the platform. It is definitely not an easy task. When you finally make it in front of the Mother Brain, you have to break the glass in front of her and keep firing. There was a couple times I finally made it to her and just kept going and she didn't want to die. I couldn't even tell you how many times I died at this part. I was finally able to take her out, but that is still not the end of the game. Once you kill the Mother Brain, a timer starts because the planet is going to explode. You have to go through the glass where the Mother Brain was to the other side to then jump up several platforms until you make it to the top and onto her spaceship so she can fly away safely. The planet explodes behind her and the Galactic Federation is saved by Samus Aran once again. It's here you see Samus standing there, and depending on how fast you beat the game, you can get 5 different prompts. All really affect just how much clothes she's wearing. If you played for more than 5 hours and Samus is looking away, if you beat the game within 5 hours and Samus is waving, if you beat the game in under 3 hours and Samus is standing there in a jumpsuit, if you beat it within 3 to 5 hours and Samus takes her helmet off, and the last one, which is not available in the Japanese version of the game, if you beat the game in under an hour, you get Samus in her underwear. So the quicker you beat the game, the less clothes she has. I think it's funny they didn't release the underwear one in Japan, only in America, where, I guess just all us perverts live. I myself received the one where she just takes her helmet off, so I must have beat the game within 3 to 5 hours. This game was obviously a success. It was the start of what would make Metroid a major IP for Nintendo. It has spurred many sequels on several different Nintendo consoles, and even got remastered on the Game Boy Advance with Metroid Zero Mission. This was a really great game, and I know with its sequel on the Super Nintendo, it made Metroid here to stay. I know there's Metroid 2 Samus Returns on the Game Boy, but if you talk to any big gaming heads, they always say their favorite in the series is either the Metroid Primes or the Super Metroid. So I'm excited to see what makes both those so special. Samus, in my opinion, definitely earned her spot in the Super Smash Bros. Roster, being one of the very first characters picked. Her appearance in Super Smash Bros. On the 64 is actually her only appearance on the Nintendo 64, but I'll go deeper in that into another episode. For now, I'm going to bring this one to an end. I hope you guys enjoyed the video and are big Metroid fans like me. Let me know down in the comments what you thought of this game, and this review. Did Craig give you as much hassle as he did me, or maybe it was Ridley? Or did you have no problem beating this game because you're a gaming god? Whatever it is, let me know down in the comments, I'd love to hear from you. But for now, I'm going to call it a night. I hope everybody has a great day. Peace out, goodbye.